Good Sunday morning, Seawolves. Welcome to the show. I hope you have some perfectly delicious Sunday morning coffee. Now that is one of the best coffees of the week, if you ask me. So here we go. Are you ready? Are you ready? Yes? Are you ready? Today is going to be special. I'm telling you right now, today is going to be a special episode. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Ooh, that is some real good Sunday morning coffee. So, as you can see, I'm on the boat today. Not sailing, unfortunately, because it's a very misty day with no wind at all. But the last time I sailed a few days back, I broke actually something. Almost never happens when you're sailing, right, that you break something. But one of my turn blocks for my lazy jacks just decided to jump right out of the mast of its own accord. So I have some fixing, some climbing up the mast to do today. All good fun, and you know, that's what it means to be a captain of a boat, I guess. But yesterday something happened, and I want to start the show with this because I think that you are really going to love this. You're going to like really like, ooh. Because yesterday I was having dinner with some friends, and I'm an Amsterdammer, so you all know that Amsterdam is famous for a bunch of things, you know, canals, flowers, other stuff also. And so I was having a nice dinner with some friends, and you know, we're having a little bit of a drink, and then somebody sent me something, right? And I looked at this something and I went, wow, just wow. You know, and you know why? Because this thing that we've been doing, you know, for the last 2.5 weeks or so, having coffee together, talking together every day, you know, talking about the race, talking about sailing, like you, all of you, you know, all 20 to 40,000 of you every day, which is amazing, by the way, but we all have this same thing, right? We have this disease, we have the bug, the sailing bug, and you know what I mean, right? It's like, yeah, most of the time it's sunny, but I mean, if we're honest, actually most of the time it's overcast and gray, and it's kind of gnarly and cold, and you get wet, and you know, you have to always hold on to something, otherwise you're gonna fall over, and your hands get really rough, and did I mention that you just get wet all the time? And it's really not a good hobby to have, right? I mean, your wife's pretending to appreciate it, but if it's not real sunny, she's not really, you know, liking it much. You know what I'm talking about, right? And if she knew what you're actually spending on all this, she'd probably divorce us right away, right? You know what I mean, right? So this whole sailing thing, it's not really a good hobby to have, right? I mean, if we'd had a choice, you know, if there was like a menu at the start of life and it said to us, would you like to love sailing you know, later in life, we would say, no, thank you. Anything but that, right? That would be the sensible thing to do. But us? No, not us. They say to us, hey, rain, cold, getting out of your bed in the middle of the night to go to a sail change and get hosed in the middle of the night, cold, wet. Would you like some of that? And we go, yeah, sure, I'll have some of that. Sounds great, right? Something is wrong with us, and we know it, but we have it. You have it. I have it. We can't help ourselves. It's just how it is. And so I see this thing yesterday and I go, that is just amazing. And so I want to share something with you. Sit down, put the phone away, and just see this, what I'm about to show you, you know, from there. And after this, we, all of us together, are going to give this a slow clap. And it's going to be a little bit awkward because it's going to essentially just be you there in your home or maybe with your friends or with your family doing the slow clap. But no, I'm going to be doing it Everybody else that's watching this is going to be doing it. We are all doing it together because this deserves the slow. Well, you'll see what I mean. So, are you ready for this? Are you sitting down? Here we go. 3, 2, 1.
Today has not been a good day, and right now I am really angry with myself because I've just been trying too hard and I've been leading with my heart and not my head, and I've managed to actually slow myself down by doing too many sail changes, and I'm cross with myself. Since 3 o'clock in the morning, so that's nearly 12 hours now, we've had really active squalls, loads of them, like every half hour, and the wind shifts by up to 60 degrees, and then, you know, the highest breeze I've seen is 35 knots, and it went from 10 knots to 35 knots in about 2 minutes. You know, I'm feeling it on reefing with this boat because I can't reef from the cockpit. To reef, I start in the cockpit, I go to the mast, I come back to the cockpit, I go to the mast, and that's the same with reef in and reef out. But that's just the way it is, you know, it's just unfortunate that today there's been a lot of reefing in and reefing out. Maybe I'm too hasty to pull the reefs out. But I think what I've really messed up on is head sails, because I've been switching between my code 0 and my jib. You know, like now the breeze is down to 12 knots and, you know, my heart just says, get the code 0 out. But every time I do that, you know, I've got an extra couple of knots for like half an hour, and then a squall comes and then I've got to put it away, and all I end up doing is sailing downwind to put it away and losing all of that ground. And I just have made the same mistake I don't know how many times today, and it's knackered me, and I should know better. That's why I'm angry with myself, but there's a part of me that just thinks maybe I could go faster, and I can't just let them walk away from me. But I need to remember this. It needs to be a lesson somewhere down the road.
What did I tell you? What did I tell you? That's it, right? I mean, sea wolf, when I say sea wolf, that is what I mean. That is the compliment of calling somebody a sea wolf, right? That just says it all. You know, that real love for sailing, that real craziness, you know, that thing that we all have, right? You know what I'm talking about? That is a sea wolf. And now here's the thing. So this video today, 20 to maybe 45,000 views, 100% guaranteed. Thank you. Awesome. This video, she has a, you know, much smaller YouTube channel, about 5,000 views right now, few likes. Come on. We can improve that, right? Now, it's really too bad that they shut off the comments to this particular video, but I put one of her other videos in the link right on the top of the description. After this video, if you're watching this live today, of course, watch the video first, do it after. But, you know, click on this link after the video that goes to another video, slap a like on that thing, and put in the comments, Seawolf exclamation mark, yes? And we're all going to do that. We're all going to do that. And tomorrow when I wake up, I want to see, you know, hundreds of Seawolf exclamation mark, Seawolf exclamation mark, Seawolf exclamation mark on this video. And they, her team, it will get to her, yes? We, us, together with the coffee, this whole thing that we're doing, we are giving her that compliment, saying, you know, sending that little bit of us so that when she's feeling like that, suddenly she feels like, you know, I feel a little bit extra strength. I'm gonna do that sail change, you know, like, and that's gonna be us sending that over there. Yeah. So after this video, hit the link, like the video, comment Seawolf exclamation mark, and they will know that it was us. Yes, they will know was the Seawolves, us all together saying, You, Pip, Seawolf. Amazing, amazing. That is what it's all about. And call to action for you guys, if in the future you see something like that, where you go, Seawolf, send it to me. You know, I don't see everything, so if you see something like that, send it to me. And I will put it here on the channel, and we will, you know, together, all of us together, give that person the compliment of, you know, Seawolf right there. Okay, so next subject. Alex Thomson, the Beast. What happened yesterday? Obviously, many of you, especially the Brits here in the channel, but I guess, you know, many of us in the English-speaking world, you know, are very saddened. We're very saddened yesterday, and are probably still very saddened today over what happened to the Beast. And yeah, it just goes to show, right, that this race is about everything, right? There isn't a single thing that you can overlook. There isn't a single thing that you can take for granted. There isn't a single thing that you can really protect yourself against, you know, in some guaranteed way. You know, the Murphy's Law is ruling supreme here, and if you guard against every 100, 200, 300 things that go wrong, you know, there will be another way that it can go wrong that you didn't guard against. And that is just how it is. And yeah, the story of Alex really underlines, you know, what is overcoming, you know, adversity, being, I think, a truly strong person with a lot of character, doing this race, you know, from the heart, doing it from a good place. Really appreciate how he upped the spectacle and really took all of us with him on the boat and tried as good as he possibly could to make us part of everything, of all the, you know, drama that he went through and all the effort that he went through, and largely because of that, like, nobody in my mind deserved it more. That's not to say that all the other sailors don't deserve it, because, you know, Pip Hare, Seawolf, exclamation mark, 100%. But I think that Alex is somebody that all of us, you know, if he'd won, we would have been, yeah, right? That's somebody who really deserves it. And it's sad that this happened. And yeah, it makes you think, right? Like, if you look at Pip with, you know, the oldest boat in the fleet, you know, I mean, you can't really call still a hyper-modern boat like that, you know, like a clunker or something. But, you know, compared to Hugo Boss and Apivia and all these hyper-modern boats, she is basically, you know, driving an old Buick or something, if we make a car metaphor out of it. And she is still in the race, and he's not, even though he was, you know, driving, you know, a monster. I mean, he told the boat builders, like, build me, you know, a monster with every hyper-modern idea that you've ever sketched on a pizza box. We're going to put it into this beast, this monster, and everybody who's going to even just look at it in the marina is going to be, like, stricken with fear that they're going to have to race against this beast. I mean, it quite literally looks like, you know, Optimus Prime and one of Ridley Scott's Aliens and the Batmobile made a love child. And, you know, it's an amazing machine. But this race, what this race throws at you, what we just saw happen to Pip, what we saw happen to this amazing machine, yeah, it's quite something, right? But I think there's a really cool lesson in a way for all of us out of these two things that happened, and that is, like, if there's anything in your life that you should be doing that you're not doing, you know, whatever excuse you're telling yourself why you're not doing it, just get off your ass and go do it. Make it happen, right? Like, what are you complaining about? Just go and do it, right? And I think, yeah, like they both, but Alex in this case, like, kudos for, you know, his style, his humanity, the way how he approached this race, the beautiful entertainment that he's all brought us. And so, yeah, little salute to Alex for what he's done in this race. And too bad it's over, but you know, I'm sure that he'll be back and that he'll go on to do more great things, and he'll very likely race in the next Vendee, and you know, maybe they'll take 4 years to perfect the beast and you know, work out all the kinks, because this was basically a very new boat. We all knew that the biggest risk for the Hugo Boss was the fact that it was just more or less a untested boat for the most part. And yeah, it's not a surprise that this happened, right? The odds of something like this happening were incredibly high, and the chances are still very high that some of the other boats in the lead, you know, by the same maker, who have had only slightly more time on the water than the Hugo Boss, could run into similar problems. But I don't think that this is anything that Alex did. You know, I think he ran a very, very good race. For all intents and purposes, looked like he raced very conservatively, you know, except for that little split through Theta. And some people are saying, like, you know, maybe that's where everything started. And there's a good chance that that is true. But the way he sailed through Theta, fully reefed, etc., there was nothing wrong with that. Like, if the boat had been good, it should have just been able to take that, right? Like, this was, you know, 40, 45 knots, waves 4 or 5 meters high, gnarly situation, but it should have been able to handle that. And if it didn't, if that's where things went wrong, where this stuff started, I don't think that Alex is, you know, to blame on that at all. So yeah, that's what I have to say about that. And yeah, it's sad that he will not be a part of the race from now on, but yeah, let's you know, all be sea wolves together and say you know, thank you, Alex, and till next time. And now back to Florian with the weather predictions, right? So in the rest of the race, there are actually some quite interesting germinations going on. If you guys dive into my screen here, I'll show you what's going on. So we have Charlie here on Apivia, and this is the weather situation right now. And interestingly, as you can see, we see that more or less the entire field here behind Apivia, except for Bureau Vallée 2, I guess, really, and a few of them are like barely touching it, but they all just missed this this, you know, stronger system here. And so as this is going to progress and kind of move towards the east, you know, this system is moving quite a bit faster than the boats are going. And that means that Charlie, over the next, well, probably 24 hours or so. So this, what you're looking at right now, is a Monday afternoon, and then, you know, by the end of Monday, oh, actually it still goes a little bit. Yeah, so it's gonna keep in there, get stronger as it gets towards the Cape. I think you can actually follow that. So in that case, basically the rest of the fleet is going to miss this system, except for Bureau Vallée 2 and Apivia. And so quite interestingly, over the next 2 days, 48 hours, Apivia is going to, I think, build up quite an enormous lead over, and maybe Bureau Vallée as well, going to get quite a substantial lead over all of the other boats, because they've all just missed this system by a hair. Maybe a few of them will be able to catch on, but he's already right in the middle of it, just booking, right? And so he's going to be riding this storm basically all the way to the Cape, while for the rest of the racers, as you can see behind this particular system, while Charlie is going to be pretty much very fast downwind sailing, the rest of them, as you can see here, are going to be, well, still downwind, but it's a lot less downwind than what Charlie is going to be doing. Some parts of it, they might actually be almost on like a beam reach situation in order to stay far enough south. If they want to get any more south, then they can definitely not really reach, and they'll have to sort of like, well, reach, but like beam reach, not really downwind sailing, which of course for the foilers, they want to go, you know, downwind to really kick it into that very, very high speeds. And so Charlie will be able to do that, while the rest probably won't. And so very likely we're going to see him you know, build up speeds. Let's see what he's doing right now. Yeah, so 22.1 knots, and very likely he's going to keep doing that while we're going to see the rest of the fleet, you know, like a bit of what we're seeing now, 16 knots, what are we seeing here, 15, 13, speeds like that. So you know, add that up for a day or 2 days of Charlie going 22, 21, something like that, averaging over 4 hours, with the rest of the fleet going 13, 14, 15 over 2 days, every hour, you know, making basically 7 miles on the rest of the group. That's a big lead, you know, that's an additional 200, 300 miles probably that he can run out of the rest of the fleet. So that is one of the things that I think will happen over the next, you know, 48, maybe a little bit more, but probably 48 hours or so. We'll see Apivia build up a lot bigger lead. Then Jean Le Cam, what's going to happen there? Hard to say. Of course, nobody at this point dares to, you know, speak against de Jean, de Roy, because, you know, this man knows what he's doing. However, I would say that, you know, with the fact that he's going to be, you know, surrounded on all sides basically by various foiling boats who should be able to have quite a bit more speed in these circumstances now than he should be theoretically able to do, one would expect that he's going to start to slowly, very slowly, fall back a little bit. But it is also possible that, like before, he'll just miraculously be able to hold on to it. So I'm not going to make any prediction in which direction it's going to go. I'm just saying, looking at this weather, you know, scientifically, we might say he's probably going to fall back a little bit. Leave in the comment, like, what do you think is going to happen? I'm curious to see what you guys will say. Then let's take a look at the Medallia, at Pip Hare, where she is right now. So she's more or less now, you know, went way south and way west with the rest of kind of the more the middle and back end of the fleet, because this huge line of Doldrums is basically still in the way. So they really have to go all the way west, all the way south, in order to make their way around this. And so yeah, they still have a long way to go. And you know, from this picture also really shows you know, the situation that we saw her struggle so much with, because obviously she's kind of in a group here, you know, together with Di Da Costa, One Planet One Ocean, and who else we had here, Arnaud Bogieris, and we have Manuel Cosen on group setting. And basically those 4 boats she is kind of racing, riding with, but she's at the back end of this pack. So you know, perhaps before she was just really struggling a little bit with keeping up, you know, with the 3 boats in her group, you know, feeling that pressure of not falling behind and becoming kind of the lone sailor and wanting to stay with that group, as you also heard her say in the video before, like, I cannot afford to watch them just, you know, run away from me. I have to stay up there. I have to fight like a lion to stay in that group. And yeah, so really interesting battle to follow. And yeah, let's root for Pip and see if she can make some headway with this 4. And you know, in 2 days or so, we'll see how she's been doing and how she went through this system, and we'll get back on that. And of course, let's take a quick look at Charlie. So right now, he's made it obviously through the Doldrums, so very fortunate there. Let's look at his speed, 12.6, not very fast actually, and it's quite interesting. And also over the last 4 hours, not super fast. Yeah, okay, of course. He's beating. Oh yeah, okay. So he's been beating for the last day or 2. So that explains, of course, his Yeah, and he's going to remain, so he's got good wind, but as you can see, he basically has a gallery of just wind that will force him to go almost on a beam, but still beating a little bit, so that's really hampers your speed. And looks like this is the entire day of Monday, gonna stay more or less the same, little lighter, little stronger here and there, but same direction. Yeah, so, yeah, okay, so okay, that's really too bad for Charlie. So he's gonna have good wind, he's gonna make relatively good speed, but as it looks right now, he's not really going to be able to do more than, say, maximum 14 knots or so because of his direction on the wind. And upwind, basically, they're just not able to make much more speed than that. And so it's gonna be hard for the next 2-3 days, basically, you know, until he gets to the level where Fabrice Amadeo with New Rest Art at Finetres is right now. He is going to be more or less beating, and so that's going to really hamper his speed. So he has to do quite a bit more distance. I would say 2, maybe 3 more days of distance before he'll be able to really put the speed on in Charal and start to make more headway in catching up with the rest of the fleet, because for now he's just going to be you know, keeping more or less the same distance. Maybe he'll gain a little bit of distance on them, but not much, because they are all going to be more or less downwind sailing in good wind conditions, while he is beating in relative good conditions, 14 to 20 knots, but still beating, so not going terribly fast. And yeah, I think that's kind of my analysis on the fleet right now. And yeah, I guess that's the show for today. So you know, really hope you enjoyed this. Looking forward to next week. I think you know, the first real full week in the Southern Ocean. We're going to talk a lot about, you know, all the ins and outs on that. And most important today, of course, like this video. Don't forget that. Like this video first. Leave a comment. But you know, hit that link in the description. Go to Pip's video. Put a little heart on that. Put a comment. Seawolf exclamation mark, so that over there they're gonna go, what is this? Why is everybody? And you know, that's our compliment. That's the compliment that comes from us. That's a little love that we are sending back for, you know, that thing that we saw this morning, that we watched this morning together, that, you know, hopefully touched all of you as much as it touched me. So guys, girls, thank you all very much for this amazing week with the Seawolves, and I'll see you all tomorrow. Wait, one more thing. So a friend of mine told me a joke yesterday, and it cracked me up just so hard. So I figured, since a lot of you are probably still a little bit sad about, you know, everything that happened with Hugo Boss, you know, this might cheer you up. So there's a guy, and you know, he's a real big fan of Brigitte Bardot, you know, the woman from you know, Brigitte Bardot. You all know who I'm talking about, right? And his wife, of course, knows that he's a real big fan of Brigitte Bardot. So as a gift, she decides for his birthday to have, you know, 2 bees tattooed on her, you know, behind, like one on one side, one on the other side. And so, you know, as a surprise. And so the guy comes home, and his wife is like, look, honey, you know, puts the pants down, you know, bends over, shows. And the guy says, honey, who's Bob?